There's new and innovative training in the United Church. From a program at the Atlantic School of Theology Distant Education, Matthew Penny sits down with a team of 4 student ministers who share their thoughts on this mainly online training program and tell us how it works for them.
I have 4 people here who are all involved in the same program, the Atlantic School of Theology's Distant Education Program. And we're sitting in Goderich, Ontario, and the Atlantic School of Theology is in Halifax, Nova Scotia. How does that work? How do you manage to do work here and be educated there all at the same time? Who wants to start?
Well, we do a lot of our education online.
Okay.
So we're on the computer throughout the year, but as well we go down to Halifax for 6 weeks every summer.
I mean, you take 6 weeks out of your life every year.
Every summer we go down to Halifax, which is hard. I mean, imagine having to go and be by the sea and eat fish and you know.
Oh, you're suffering.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful place to be anyway, Halifax, and so we go down there. We take intense courses. Like every 2 weeks, we are doing a new course.
Now,
it's
when you
a
do
lot of work.
when you do a course in 2 weeks, I mean, that's like an academic semester course done in 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's a full master's credit.
A 4-month equivalent in 2 weeks.
I remember one summer going down having 13 textbooks.
In 2 weeks?
In 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, but they try to give you a bit of warning before we go with what's required, what textbooks you need to read. And you try to get your reading done before you go, and that doesn't always happen, does it?
Well, I want to ask Colin, you have family?
Yeah, I have 2 children.
And they get by for 6 weeks without dad?
They manage. Yeah, it was a little bit easier. This was my second summer.
Right.
It was a little bit easier this year than the first year being separated, but the wonders of modern technology, you can communicate back and forth, and it's the next best thing to being there.
Yeah, thank goodness for Skype.
Yes.
When you're training to become ministers, which you all are, what kind of courses do you study for 2 weeks at a time? Do you like a preaching course or?
Oh, yes, yeah. They offer the full gamut, just as they would for any Masters of Divinity if you're full-time at it. And so there's preaching courses, there's pastoral courses, there's theology courses, history, all kind of whatever you can imagine is there.
So Tom, where are you in the process?
I'm due to be ordained this coming May, so I'm finishing up 1 year-long course that's distance, and I have 2 distance courses this winter, and that's it. I'm done. So 27 out of 30 credits are done.
Oh, wonderful. How about you, Colin? You said second year.
Yeah, I just finished my 11th credit. I'm assuming I passed and got my credit. So yeah, I'm just finished. I have 1 more course to finish up my second year.
And you're in the same?
I actually started in the summer of 2008. It's a 5-year program, and it's 30 credits that you need to pick up. So it's 6 credits in a year. What you need to do, Matthew, is in this program you need to have what they call a learning site. As a minister, we're ministers in training where we're in our own churches. We are learning the job of being a minister in a church covenants with us to take us on as a student minister. So we're learning the job. We're actually ministers in our churches, but we're doing the schoolwork as well. And it works out really, really well. It's lovely. I really like this program.
What you say is just interesting. That I don't know if people understand. You're taking the courses, you're doing work all winter, but you're also all serving churches?
Yes.
That's a requirement for this program.
Like half-time, full-time, or?
It's supposed to be, technically it's supposed to be a maximum of 3/4 time, but 3 of them here are full-time,
We are.
and 1 of us is 3/4.
That's a lot of work, because people will know that ministers' jobs, when they're out in the parish, is pretty intense itself.
It is.
And then you stack some courses on top of that.
Yes. We work very hard. But
Keep saying that.
yes, but our churches understand, as I said, they covenant with us, which is so important because they allow us the time to do the studying in the week that we have to get done.
It sounds like, the word that comes to mind is apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and I assume each of you have sort of a mentor that works with you to as you're going through the learning hands-on ministry learning, this supervisor, minister, mentor type person that helps you along in that.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. That's another part of the program, is that each of us requires an educational supervisor to work with. However, we are all the sole ministers in the charge that we're in. So the day-to-day, for the people that are in the pews, we're the minister. But we just work with a little bit greater program there with others along that. You know, not just our educational supervisor, but there's a pastoral charge supervisor overseeing things also, along with education and students in the presbytery.
What were the surprises when you stepped into the pulpit, into a church, to be the minister, even though you're a student at the same time? What were the surprises that you had?
I think for me the greatest surprise was when I went from my home pastoral charge, a church that I'd grown up in, and stepped into suddenly being the minister in a completely different community. The churches don't all operate under the same understanding and assumptions. And I found a very different culture, even though on the surface they looked very similar to where I had come from.
What was the surprise for you, Terry, when you first stepped into that new pulpit in a new church?
Well, it was very different because it's a farming community, and you know I've never lived in a farming community before.
Culture shock.
Culture shock, but at the same time very welcoming.
Okay.
Like they were so nice to me. You know, when I first arrived, they went to great lengths to make sure that I felt that I was the minister and I was at home there. And you know, they were really good like that.
Well, it would be wonderful conversations around the dinner table, as you say, at AST, because you would be talking about your courses and immediately be able to relate them to what you're doing as a parish minister.
Yes. And everybody's experience as a minister is very different. And so you're hearing those different experiences around the table. And it's not just at AST, it's online too. We have these discussions,
Well,
we have these opportunities.
So you keep in touch with these people, like there's 4 of you here,
Oh, yeah.
but there would be a camaraderie of people that you go to courses with in the summer. You keep in touch with them over the winter?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're in course with them online, and every course, online course, has a discussion component. So you're still in class with your classmates, even though we're separated by thousands of miles.
What advice? This is the learned camaraderie we have here. Every one of you has got experience. If I was a person in a church and I thought, I want to be a minister, and I thought about the AST distance education program, what would be the most important bit of advice that you could give me about starting this venture?
Get down to the school, sign up for some courses, and go see, start experiencing it. We, both Jerry and I, we went through the discernment process in the United Church. We were in our churches and felt that call to ministry. I wanted to become an ordained minister in the United Church of Canada. I looked then, what's available to me, and when I found out about the distance program in Halifax, it appealed to me a lot because I thought I can work in a church as a minister and still get the schooling. So I just applied immediately to the Atlantic School of Theology. Matthew, may I say, I think that this program is a way to keep church doors open. And if more churches were familiar with this program, if they are able to support a minister at half-time position, they can get a student minister in this program. It will help a church to stay open. And there are a lot of churches that are not familiar with this student ministry summer distance program. And as far as I'm aware of, I think the Atlantic School of Theology, it's the only theological school, isn't it, in Canada, offering this summer distance program.
As a family man, to suddenly change careers and begin academic life with 2 small children and a wife to support, if I wasn't able to work full-time while I did that and earn a living as I pursued my studies, I simply wouldn't be able to do it.
Yes.
So the AST program allowed me to go into ministry in a way that I don't think I could have done otherwise.
Well, look, I want to thank every one of you for sharing your life with us this morning on Life and Faith, and I wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing you on stage at your ordination, you next spring and you guys down the road. So thank you.